This is Brandon Kerri, aka The Prodigy, and we're here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee at Olympus Athletic Club and Spa. And today we're going to train some shoulders and some arms. We're going to really get into it, see how much work done we can get done today, and try to push the intensity just a little bit. You know, this is not necessarily a weakness, but we don't want to be lacking anywhere come Arnold Classic in 4 weeks. So let's get it done. Today we got into shoulder training, and then we finished with some biceps and triceps. For me, you know, arms are not really a weakness, shoulders are not really a weakness, so sometimes I throw them all together. Like today, sometimes I separate them depending on how my week is going. Today we started off with a hammer strength shoulder press, pretty traditional. I think we worked up to 315. You know, I try not to go overly intensive with the shoulders. They get so much secondary work. And I don't want, you know, I know they're hyper mobile, and I don't want to put myself in a predicament for injury. So I try to stay within reason, keep my volume up a little bit. So we worked up 315, did a couple drop sets, and moved on to the next exercise. Next exercise was standing behind the neck press on the Smith machine. And what we really focused on that is starting off the traps, which is something I learned is a lot more challenging than I've traditionally done it, starting out that bottom range of that motion. You got to make sure your shoulders are healthy with this, guys. It's not an exercise that I suggest you try to really push your load, because that range of motion does not really allow for that kind of load. If you do shorten it and you go to the ears, then maybe you can get that those weights up a lot. But from that range of motion, it's really challenging out the hole. And I like the way it feels. I like the increased range of motion, and it just really cheers my shoulders up every time I do them. So I'm committed to doing them. Being that you're standing, you can adjust the body accordingly to get the most comfortable shoulder position. Smith machine, you're not necessarily having to stabilize the weight overhead. So you can, you know, use a little trial and error what position works best for you. Next exercise was a standard upright row. We used the easy bar for wrist comfort. You know, I didn't do anything special. I traditionally tell people not to focus on trying to get the elbows up too high. Just from personal experience, I've done that, and it caused me some shoulder issues for several weeks. And I ran into a nice little article that said that's probably not the best thing you want to do in that position and that kind of exercise, get the shoulders way up over the elbows way up over the shoulders, so to speak. So I kind of keep them even, try to reach that perpendicular to the body or parallel to the floor position on that. And it's just really challenging. Everybody knows the tried and true shoulder move. Watch your grip, don't go too close, because that also puts a lot of stress on the shoulder girdle as well. So just play with it a little bit and make sure you're comfortable in that position, because it can be potentially dangerous if you do it wrong. Next exercise was one of my favorites, pull to the face with the rope on a standard lat pull down machine standing. I like to do this. It really hits the lateral head a lot, as well as the rear delt. It's very much like an upright row, but at a different angle. Really, I focus on, you know, that back double bicep shot and how I can really incorporate the shoulders in that position. I kind of focus and simulate that exercise after that movement. It's one of those things that really stretches the shoulder with a great amount of intensity, but it's not really hard on the joints of the shoulder girdle at all. So very effective movement for add more volume to your workout. We moved on to the machine lateral raise. I did it in reverse. Great movement in reverse, puts you in a nice little fixed position where you can't really challenge yourself by lifting your chest and cheating with the front delt. So it leaves for more even distribution, and you get some tension, a lot more tension in the rear delt than you would if you face forward in that position. I just like the challenge. I try to keep constant tension by not letting those bars really hit the body, and it just helps really just fatigue those shoulders fast in that position. So you really can't go too far wrong when you use that machine. So it's a great way of just challenging yourself with a nice isolation fixed position. The final shoulder exercise that we moved to was the machine rear delt movement. It's basically one of the tried and true rear delt movements if you don't know how to hit them. So I just went there and just finished out the movement, try to fatigue those rear delts as much as possible, and just trying to make a complete shoulder cap. Rear delts are a big part of that roundness. So when you have that rear delt development, you get that full roundness and those boulder-looking shoulders. Most people don't have problems with front delts or lateral heads, but the rear delt work is really number one, and for a while it was my focus at the beginning of the workout when I thought my shoulders were a little weaker in previous years.